Hello, good afternoon, and Happy New Year to everybody. From Terry and I, we wanted to come to you today and talk to you about the most recent COVID relief bill that has passed and been signed into law. I do want to give you some information on where our info comes from and give credit to the sources. One is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, who had a live session today and covered the various items that are pertinent to small business. And the other is Dwayne Morris. They're a legal firm that we use in our schools, and they also put out information on the act as soon as it came out, as soon as the relief bill was signed into law. So I want to cover some of those things. For those of you that have followed us along, I want to say thank you. We are very committed to keeping the salon industry, salons, barbershops, independents, spas, etc., up to date with the latest information. As you can see, PSC is in the screen behind me, and we're looking forward to it. Just an absolutely brilliant year in 2021. So to start with, I wanted to say that I think the number one thing that you all should be talking to your payroll team and your accountant is the employee retention credit, tax credit that is available. It was in the first bill, but it was eliminated in that bill if you received a PPP loan. With this new bill, not only have they made it possible for the first and second quarter of 2021, but they've allowed you to go back, even if you received a PPP loan, and apply for this tax credit on the employees that you have retained. I'm not going to go into all the legal ins and outs of it, but what I want you to know is that there is money available, and it is in the form of a tax credit. And if the tax credit is larger than what you're paying in to the with your 941s, your payroll taxes that you're collecting and turning into the various governments, IRS and also the state governments, you can actually get a check back from the government itself on this. So my suggestion is take a look at what's available for employee retention for 2020, and then definitely take advantage of it for 2021, the first and second quarter. There's more money available for 2021 than there was in 2020, but it's basically the same type of thing. It's a refundable credit. So that means that even if the credit that you've got coming is bigger than the tax that you would be currently paying in, they will send you a check. If cash flow is particularly tight, you are able to ask or apply for an advance on that money. So again, two separate time periods for asking for this relief. One is relative 2020 compared to 2019. The other is 2021 compared to 2020. So a little bit confusing, but that's where your payroll company and your accountant should come up. Now, the thing is, they're not going to probably come to you with this. You're going to need to go to them with this. So I'm going to look at my phone real quick and get you the actual name of this. It is called the Employee Retention Tax Credit. Employee Retention Tax Credit. That is available, and it's available to businesses with 500 employees or fewer. I'm pretty sure that applies to all of us that might be listening to this. And with more than in this year, it's a 20% decline of gross receipts in a quarter compared to 2019. So I think that, again, with the fact that most of us have endured at least one government shutdown or state shutdown of our businesses, 20% is not a problem to hit. Now, so that's the one thing, the employee retention tax credit. Mark that down. Talk to your accountant. Talk to your payroll service if you use one. The next thing is the PPP loan, which is the Payroll Protection Program. This was a fund that really helped out a lot of salons, a lot of our friends that own salons, and a lot of our small businesses that we have as friends, including PSC in our schools, were helped by the first PPP loan. Now, this loan has come out with a second iteration of it. There's an ability to apply for a second PPP loan, and we'll talk about that. The PPP loan is for 300 employees or fewer. You have to pass a revenue reduction test, which just means that we have to be down 25% in a quarter of 2020 compared to the same quarter of 2019. So a lot of it's going to feel real similar to what we did for the first PPP loan. They have made some changes in it, and you're going to want to do that. But whoever you got your first PPP loan through, you don't have to go back through them, but it makes sense. They have all of your previous information, and that's certainly what we're going to do. This also applies to independents and 1099 employees, where you may be the only person on your, within your company, and you're paying payroll to you. There is that opportunity to, to again apply for a PPP loan, and right from the start. Another thing I want to tell you is that there is one of the changes this time is that $25 billion has been set aside by the government for this PPP loan for businesses that have 10 employees or less. So please, I know that applies to a lot of salons. And I will tell you that Terry and I have been very concerned about this first quarter of 2021 for most of our salons. So please make sure that you are aware of and talking with people about the opportunities to get this assistance is from. Remember, the PPP loan is forgivable up to being fully forgivable. And the restriction is 60% of it has to be used for payroll, and 40% of it can be used for other expenses that are, pretty available to all businesses, whether it be insurance payments, leases, mortgage payments, things of that nature. Normal everyday expenses that you go through with your business. 40% of it can be used for that. 60% or more can be used for payroll. Something that, again, and this second round of the PPP loan is for people who have already exhausted the first PPP loan. So you've used up all of the first PPP loan. You don't have to have applied for forgiveness yet, but you have to have used all of the funds. And from there, you can apply for the second PPP loan. I would like to make sure that you also know that since the PPP second loan is available only when you've exhausted the first PPP loan, if you find yourself in a position where you said, gee, I wish I would have gotten a first PPP loan, that loan is still available. They're going to reopen the portal for that loan, and you can apply for the PPP loan, even if you passed on it when it was originally made available. So you might be saying, oh, this PPP second loan sounds great, but we never went through and got the first loan. You can, again, as soon as they open up the portal, which could be any day now, apply for that first PPP loan. and subsequently then probably apply for the second PPP loan once you've exhausted the funds of the first one. The other thing that's really great news that came from this act is that the first PPP loan, we got so many mixed messages on how and if it was going to have any taxation. And here's the most current that we know. There will be no tax consequence for the first PPP loan. What that means is if the full loan is forgiven, you will not pay taxes on it as if it were income. You won't pay taxes on it. The other thing is they had told us originally that the expenses that were paid and the payroll that was paid with the first PPP loan, we wouldn't be able to deduct those expenses from our business, which really made that money taxable. Because with less expenses, there is the potential for more profit and more tax liability. They have, in this particular iteration, they have said the first PPP loan will not have a tax consequence. So it will not, you will be able to deduct those expenses that were paid with that loan, which that's a huge relief. That's a huge thing for most of our businesses. So you want to be sure, if you're taking notes, you want to talk to your accountant and or your payroll service about the employee retention tax credit. You want to talk about the first PPP loan if you received it, and the fact that now there is no tax consequence. You also want to take a look and see if you need and qualify for the second PPP loan, which I believe that most everyone that had to shut their business for that period of time is going to be in a position where they need that second PPP loan. And it's hard to keep saying PPP over and over and over again. So I appreciate you being patient with me as we go through it. There are some new expenses that are possible to claim. Again, the 60-40 rule is still in effect, 60% on payroll, 40% on other expenses. But the thing that they will allow you to deduct is those changes you made to your business because of COVID. So for example, I know many of you put up plexiglass. Many of you put partitions between your stations. Many of you kind of redid the inside of your businesses in order to have the proper social distancing. Many of you have invested in PPE supplies that maybe you didn't have on your list before. So those are just some additional things that are available to use the Payroll Protection Program loan money on. Again, this is this loan, like the first PPP loan, starts the day that the loan closes, and it lasts either for an 8-week period or a 24-week period, or any date you provide in between that 8 and 24 weeks. So for example, if you wanted to be able to close it and you've used all the proceeds and you want to apply for forgiveness, you can do that. You can name it in a 16-week period, or you can leave it open for a 24-week period, whatever your choice is. But that period is between 8 and 24 weeks. So I think it's an important thing to keep in mind. Let me see from my notes if there's anything else. Oh, don't forget the employee retention tax credit. You've got 2 time periods to look at. 2020, which is already passed, it's in the books. You're gonna have to go back and ask them to redo that. There is a period that you qualify for in that, and there's also one that you can qualify for in 2021. Now to look over this, again, the maximum amounts for the PPP is $2 million, or 2.5 times your monthly average payroll. I already talked about the funds for smaller businesses, 10 employees or less. $25 billion is set aside for that. Um, there is a streamline for people who received $150,000 or less in their PPP loan proceeds. Those will become automatically forgivable if the borrower submits an attestation, and so on. Again, your legal, your accounting, and your bank, probably the loan provider, will help you to do those things. But yeah, if your loan's 150 or less, 150,000 or less, it is going to be automatically forgivable, provided, of course, you have the eligible expenses to go against it. Let me look and see what else. I think we're getting down there. I have shared this with you strictly from a salon standpoint, although much of it applies to all small businesses, but from a salon, barbershop, independent contractor, spa, etc., this would apply to you. So I got to say that this is, I think, going to be helpful. I know is going to be helpful to many people. You might say, you know what, it feels like things are going to come back to normal. I should maybe think about passing on this. There's probably people who need this worse than I do. And I'm not asking you to be selfish. I'm asking you to be smart. Be smart. If your cash flow is not everything that you need it to be, you closed your businesses for anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks or more. And we have definitely had a slower holiday season than in past years. I think we've had a slower season altogether from the time we reopened until the end of the year. I know that it's certainly reflected through your purchases from our company in many cases. So please think about this. Take action. Again, quickly. There is a limited amount of money that's been set aside for all of this, and it'll probably go relatively quickly. It's said that the first PPP loans, that portal will probably reopen in the next few days, and the second PPP loan will not be far behind that. So the banks that are providing that for you may have their own loan paperwork that they require, and they're allowed to do that. So you're going to want to have some help in probably putting your package together and then forwarding it to them so that it can be uploaded to the portal. But other than that, I would say these aren't the only things. The EIDL loan has EIDL has a $10,000 grant that's available. Both of our states, Illinois and Indiana, also have some state funding that's possible. I do know that the SBA also has some wonderful programs for minority businesses as well that can help, and also for women-owned businesses, which I believe are considered under the minority umbrella. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. I'm going to tell you again, we're not an attorney, not an accountant, just a fellow small business person like yourselves. And we have always kind of stood up there and said, we want to do what's right on behalf of all of you. We're going to step forward in faith and not go forward in fear. We're not done with this COVID thing yet. And yes, we're not done with this COVID thing yet. And we're also not done with its financial impact on our economy or on our businesses. That being said, 2020 brought about some wonderful new opportunities for education, brought about some wonderful new opportunities for communication. And I hope that real soon, we're going to be able to do even more than that and gather again in this place that I hope you call home, which is PSC. Our theater's never been as empty and quiet. Our education rooms have never been as empty or quiet. And we hope that we've answered some of that with our online education. We've got some brilliant plans for 2021. We're so excited to share all of that with you. We're getting ready to go into a 3-day meeting with our field people, our sales consultants. Very excited to share all of that with them, and then obviously with you. I do have one educational program that I would love to encourage any of you to join. I think it's perfectly placed at the beginning of 2021, and it is a program by Devin Hughes. And Devin is someone who I personally met and took a class from just before the pandemic. And Devin has written several books. Devin is biracial, and he is a brilliant communicator and speaker. He's written several books, an award-winning author, both adult books and children's books. His program is going to be all about happiness. And I think that with what we've all been through in this past 12 months, a big shot in the arm of happiness and is going to be, I think, really, really, really powerful. We'd love for you to join us. It's this Monday. It's this Monday. Let me look and see if I've got on my calendar what time it is. So it's the 11th. I do not have what time it is, but you can contact Trish Church or anyone in our education department for information on how to log in to this program. And Trish sending me a text as I'm here. Isn't this communication amazing? She said thank you. So anyway, anything that you can do, we'd love to have you on there. I'm going to be on there personally as well. Terry will, I'm sure, also. But Devin Hughes is worth the time. It's a relatively short program. I know we've got as many people from our schools on line with it as possible. And look at you appearing.
Oh my gosh, I look like bewitched. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I was listening to you in the other room.
Oh, thanks. And Trish has corrected me. It is the 18th. So it's a week from Monday, not Monday. It's a week from Monday, the 18th from 9 to 11. It's a 2-hour program. Devin Hughes, please, please, please do a Google search. And Terry keeps popping in and popping out. Join us for that. I think I know it'll be well worth your time and a great way to start the year. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Please feel free to share this amongst your hairdresser communities. My hat is off, as always, to iCut. Maggie, you do a terrific job. And if this finds its way there, I'd be very honored. I think it's information everyone needs about the PPP loan and about the employee retention tax credit that we can all take advantage of. And if there's anything else we can do to provide information for you, we'll be right back here on a live presentation. Thanks and Happy New Year, and have an absolutely spectacular year.